accepted. The candidates will have 3 minutes to respond to their opponent's question, followed by a 2-minute rebuttal. Mr. McAvoy, your question for Mr. Ziola.
Yeah, Jim, over the course of the campaign, I've heard some feedback from some of the residents about the High Plains Community Center, the cleanliness of the swimming pool area, the locker rooms, the bathrooms, the heating issue with some of the seniors in the cafeteria. What are your plans for that in the short term?
Actually, I thought the pool was pretty good. We have a man who comes in from 4 to 8 a.m. Specifically to do that. And I quite honestly was under the impression that the pool was pretty good. Plus they just went through their clean and revamp. They were closed down for 3 weeks after camp ended. So that one surprises me a little bit, but well, at least I'm not complaining about the temperature of the water. As far as the rest of the building, there was discussion in the beginning that we didn't have a furnace there. Well, the Board of Selectmen did approve a furnace installation there at $50,000. I believe it'll be in next week. However, one of the 2 existing furnaces is up and running. I was at the senior center today for Halloween bingo, and they were very happy. There's one woman in particular who launches herself at me in attacks when things aren't right. And she said thank you today, and things were good. And it was, I thought it was like a sauna in there, but you know, to them it was just right. So the heat is fixed. There's issues there that need to be addressed, Kevin, and I think you can understand them because you have some of the same type of employees on the Board of Education side, and some of those issues need to be addressed appropriately at times, and it has to be done cautiously and not at a debate here. But we are addressing that facility as best we can. What was the other part of your concern?
It was just the heating in the cafeteria.
We bought the furnace, it's coming. That's all I can lie. They had heat, they were warm today. It was like 90 in there.
Mr. McAvoy, your rebuttal?
No.
Mr. Ziola, your question for Mr. McAvoy. Hopefully you have a second question.
You know what? I have to thank Ann, because I said, I'm sitting there scratching my head today, and I'm like, what am I going to ask him? And Ann said to me before she left to go home, she says, better come up with 2 questions, because if the panel asks your question, then what are you going to do? So I did. Kevin, as business administrator of the elementary schools, why would you discard serviceable computer units when your kindergarten children had only 1 computer per classroom until this past Tuesday?
The serviceable computer units, you mean talking about the ones that I sent over to the senior leadership group? To you guys?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, we came up with a plan. We had savings in our budget this year, which allowed us for the first time in over 4 years to actually start working on the inventory of implementing new computers into the into the education, into the classrooms. 5 years ago, we ordered over 1,300 computers for all our school, for every kid in a class. And then those computers are now over 5 years old. So what we did this year was we paid for about 1/3 of the inventory. So we funded 1/3 of the inventory this year. We plan on funding another 1/3 hopefully next year, and then another 1/3 after that. And we continue the schedule of replacing our computers. As we were replacing the inventory, Jim called me and said, hey, what are you going to do with some of the old computers? I need some over here for the senior leadership group. I'm like, we can take care of that for you. Yeah. So we gave them some of the original computers that we purchased 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now. And those computers are still good. They can still be used. They're actually a little antiquated and outdated with some of the software that's on there, but for the seniors' purposes, they meet the needs. They're doing Excel and doing PowerPoint, those type of things. So as far as our kindergarten is concerned, what we did this past year was we upgraded the last of our 2 grades 1st and 2nd, with smart boards. And the kindergartens were actually on the slate for next year, but that has to be approved by the board before we move forward on that. Any type of computer in the kindergarten or smart board has to be approved by the board. This past year, we replaced 1/3 of the inventory, which basically took care of some of the lower grades.
Mr. Ziola, you have a rebuttal?
I'm sorry, I have to. assumed that one night, I answered the phone, it was a mistake, and the person wanted to know why I gave all the computers from the Board of Education to the seniors. I said, hold the phone, I don't think we did. I don't know, I'm not sure. So I went downstairs and Pat Tancredi, who works for us part-time, he's a former Board of Education IT person, and they let him go and we hired him. I mean, he's been away from them for a couple of years. And it turned out over at the kindergarten, there's 8 classrooms, and they have 1 computer in each classroom that is hooked to internet and all. But with 5-year-olds, they could use more units that they could do programs in. There's plenty of discs out there, whether it's a reading program, a math program, a little kid science program. And Pat Tancredi came to me and he said, what do you want to do? He says, they have 8 classrooms over there. I said, what are they asking for? I said, they're asking for 2. He said to me, they're asking for 2 computers in each classroom. He says, they won't be hooked to the internet, they're strictly for educational purposes. Can we do this, and will the town pick up the tab for me refurbishing these? Pat Tancredi took those computers, refurbished them. They were installed Tuesday in the 8 kindergarten classrooms at Marriott Tracy. So now each room has 3 computers, 2 which are strictly educational by way of disk, 1 connected to the internet, and I really have to thank my cousin Tricia for bringing that to me. And so that's what I did with some of the old computers that the Board of Ed threw away.
Thank you.